What's up, everybody? Danny here with Elite Mobile Auto Electric, working on a 2018 Dodge Durango. Problem with this one is that the customer says that it's a crank mid-start, we'll call it. So we have the ignition switch turning on. We press the brake, crank it, and that's all it does. Now, if you bypass it at the fuse box or relay, it will turn on. You know, it's a long crank or whatnot, but it will eventually turn on and stuff like that. So we know that starter is good, the engine's not seized. And what I did was I took off the fuse box and I started checking my control wires, which is this green with orange, to the relay. And there is a command, but it quickly breaks off. Now let me show you on the on what I'm talking about. So it's a 3.6, and then hopefully you're able to see this, but the engine control module, okay, we'll start at backwards. The starter, which is right here, we have a yellow gray, that is your solenoid, and it goes to a fuse number 72, okay? And then from there it feeds back to the ECM, and then that is your sense signal. So you know when it's already started, and you know when should it cut it off and stuff like that. So we have a starter solenoid relay, and then we have a starter solenoid relay 1, 2, and then we have the PRC control relay. So on this diagram we have two powers, and then we have our command, which is that dark green orange that I told you, and then there is the dark green yellow, which is the feedback. So I've noticed that on most of these there's technicians who replace the TIPM, the ECU, and that seems not to solve the issue. Now we have power, we have power here, there's power there. Battery voltage right now it's at 1182. It's a little low, but we can make it work. Now what I did is I used a jump box, and reason for that is because I've noticed that on other prior vehicles I've came across problems where I have a lack of, let's say here, ground. Now I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. You see that ground, you know, 0 gauge strap held by a 10mm socket? That is your ground strap to your engine block, and you can see that it's mounted on the just bottom of the alternator. Now on this one, if you have a bad connection on the strap, you're not going to have good ground on your engine, and then obviously your starter is going to cut out once it puts a lot of stress on there, you know, especially on vehicles that have that piece corroded already. You are not going to have a good ground. Now what I did to rule that out, I added ground to the block with my jumper cable, jump box. This one I connected it to my fuse box, and the truck turned on. All right, now I wanted to see whether if it was going to be a ground issue or a positive issue. So what I did is I moved the ground from the block and I moved it to my jump location, and then I put the battery cable terminal here, and it turned on. I put it here, turned on. I moved it here and did not turn on. So I did a load test. This is why the Devo is here. On my positive, my ground, it doesn't show anything. I think it goes to like 0.32 at crank. Nothing major that you would say I'm getting like a battery voltage, which is crazy, but I seriously thought it was going to detect it. Now I've narrowed down the issue. That is, my problem sits on here, or from my not here, I'm sorry, problem sits from the terminal from my fuse box. The wire goes down here and it shoots down to the battery. I have to find or clean this out, take it apart, find out that I'm not having any loose connections, because at the bottom you're actually able to see that there's a connector with 4 wires connecting at the bottom of this unit. Now we want to make sure that we don't have a bad connection that's causing this. So I will be chasing down this, cleaning it out, finding out if this is the issue or my issue lies further down. All right guys, so I took off the where the jump box is at. So jump started. I did notice that there is a little bit of let's see here, where I would suggest that there is a false contact right here where it might be dirty. So we're gonna clean this up. Most likely I feel that this is gonna be our issue here. So I'm gonna clean this up, put it back everything, and then retry it again. So stick along. Okay, so I am gonna put some dielectric grease, make sure we don't have a false contact anymore in the near future. So definitely want to avoid that. All right, now for the moment of truth. And there she goes, good as new. Yep, and there you have it. So I would say that this one was a little bit tricky. It was throwing a curveball at me, and I was already going to diagnose, or I mean start diagnosing something else, like maybe the TIPM was going to be the issue, or the PCM. But I was talking to my cousin, which he also does dielectric. He had a similar case. So I decided, with his help, shout out to Raul, Adame. So I was able to actually he helped me out to find another route in order to be able to find out what's going on. So, he actually facilitated my diagnostic, and I started to find out what was going on with if it was a loose ground. I thought that it was going to be from the chassis to the engine. Wasn't expecting the power actually to be lost at a cranking, but anything can happen. And it did actually have a little cover here, So I know that it wasn't exposed, you know, to water and something like that, where it was heavily just poured into it. But yeah, you know, there you go. I hope this helps anybody. Again, this was done by somebody else, a friend of mine who actually got me this job. But I checked power. This is your starter relay 1, starter relay 2, and I checked power, power wasn't cutting off. I noticed that the command signal to the relay was actually supplied by the ECM. Now I thought that it was going to be probably the signal from the ECM. It might needed a flash or a PCM replaced, but you know, after I got the insight from my cousin, decided to step back and actually, you know, approach it with another form that he recommended. So I did that, and sure enough, I was able to pinpoint this exact issue. So thanks to him. Hope this helps anybody. Make sure you guys give a thumbs up, and till the next one.